Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary and this is The Last 50, where I'm chronicling my journey on losing my last 50 pounds. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel, and don't forget to hit that bell to get notifications for each time I end up uploading new content. So it's Saturday, July 11th, and I thought I would do a video, even though I'm going to make one tomorrow with my weigh-in. And I'll talk about something else tomorrow. I think the topic that I chose to talk about tomorrow is being pregnant while being morbidly obese, which is an interesting topic. So I'll save that for tomorrow. I don't know about where you guys are, but it is so hot here. It's 103 outside, and I woke up this morning and it was already like 90 early this morning, and I went and did my workout in my garage. I was dripping with sweat. After it was a great workout. I probably sweated off like 3 pounds of water. And then I went upstairs, got a shower, everything, got dressed, and then I've been running errands ever since. And it's like about 6 o'clock here, and I've just gotten home, and I was so hot again from walking around and wearing a mask. It's so hard to breathe in a mask when it's this hot, but I will still wear it because I care. So I came home and I just like jumped into a like not ice cold, but not hot, but kind of lukewarm, but a little bit cool on the cool side shower, because I was just overheated, I think. So I look really awesome right now because of that, but whatever. So I wanted to make some content today because I've been asked in DMs to talk a little bit more about myself, to get for y'all to get to know me better. So I asked on Twitter if anyone had any questions. I got 1 or 2, so I will roll those into my getting to know me. And I guess just start from the beginning, which is people want to know where I'm from. I'm born and raised from New York. I'm from Long Island, New York. My entire family still lives there, all within a 10-mile radius of one another. I'm sure they all think that that is too far away for them, for their liking. I grew up in an Italian family. Every stereotype about Italian families that you can think of probably applied. There were lots of us. We were loud. Food was a huge component of everything. There was an expectation. There was expectations of the women, or yeah, I was the oldest. I'm the oldest of the sisters and the cousins. So I think there was this expectation I would be married first and have kids first, and yada yada yada. By the time I'm 44, by the time my mom was my age, I was in college. So that should give you an idea of like the difference. I have a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old. So somebody asked me about having kids later in life and how I felt about it, and I'm going to kind of roll that into this. So I think there was this expectation that I was supposed to get married earlier in life and have lots of kids and, you know, stay on Long Island and live happily ever after like everybody else did. You know, my parents are used to that because they grew up with their cousins living across the street from them, their aunts and uncles living next door. You know, it was just one of those things. And I think that, you know, if I asked my mom, she would prefer me to be in a house like next door to her, probably. But I didn't do any of those things. I kind of went my own way. My sister and my cousins, they got married in their 20s and started having kids in their 20s. So, you know, they kind of followed the path, and I kind of went my own way. I got my bachelor's degree in history, and then I went to graduate school in Philadelphia. So I moved to Philadelphia for graduate school. I have a master's in library science and a master's in information systems. And I lived in Philadelphia for about 5 years between graduate school and working professionally. After that time, I moved back to New York to work at the Health Sciences Center Library at Stony Brook University. And I stayed there for probably 2 or 3 years, and then I kind of dropped the bomb on my family, and I moved to North Carolina, where I went to work as the head of access and delivery services at North Carolina State University Libraries. And I was there. I really loved living in North Carolina. I really hope to get back to North Carolina because it's, to me, it was the perfect weather, and it was so green and beautiful, and I just really loved everything about living there. So that's my goal, to get back to North Carolina. It's funny because there are tons of New Yorkers in North Carolina, especially in the Triangle area. They call them halfbackers. They're people who retired to Florida and hated Florida, so they moved halfway back. It's kind of funny, but anyway. So I was in North Carolina for several years, and then in late 2009, I really broke my parents' hearts and moved all the way to California to be with my husband, but at that time my boyfriend. So I've been here ever since, and this is probably, next to growing up on Long Island, this is probably the longest place I've been. I've been here now for 10 years. And you know, I enjoy being here. I moved here to accept a position as the Assistant Dean of Libraries at the University of the Pacific. I had applied for that job specifically so I could be closer to my husband. And I really enjoyed that position. And prior to marrying my husband, I was in a long-term relationship for 15 years, and we had lived together for probably half of that. And it was, you know, it ended okay, as these things end, but that whole time, I never thought I wanted to get married or have kids. Like, I was always asked, like, when do you guys think you're gonna get married? You're gonna have kids? You're gonna do this? And I was like, no, I don't really care. Like, I don't feel like getting married. Roommates for life. My grandmother actually said to me, my nanny actually said to me, well, if you don't have children, who's gonna take care of when you're older? You're gonna be lonely. And I was just like, that sounds like the perfect reason to have kids. Let's sign me up. I had no thought about it. Nothing. Didn't care. Didn't think about it. I was probably more actively against getting married and have kids. Like, I thought it was just not for me. But it's true what they say, when you meet the one person, it's right, then things change. And as soon as I met my husband, I knew I wanted to get married with this man. I knew I wanted to have children with this man. And that's exactly what we did. So I got married when I was 36. I had my first child when I was 37, and I had my second child when I was 39. And as far as that goes, as I've kind of said, I'm a librarian, and I worked in library management and library administration in academic and health sciences libraries. And I've worked in libraries for almost 20 years at that point. And having my kids later in life was probably one of the best, totally not planned things I ever did in my life. So I had my career, and I thought, you know, this is what I'm going to do. And when I took the job at UOP as the assistant dean, I kind of was like, wow, this is really, you know, kind of, I don't want to say the apex of my career, but, you know, I had no desires to be a dean of libraries or director of a library. I liked being kind of the next level down. I liked managing operations and functions of the library. I had liked having large staff. I'm good at problem solving. My professional reputation is kind of like I'm a fixer. You call me in when you have situations that need to get changed or fixed, or people you want fired. I'm that person. So when I got pregnant with my first child and I was still working, I ended up with a condition called hyperemesis gravidarum, which, if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like morning sickness on steroids, except it's worse than morning sickness. You are nauseous and vomiting all the time. You get dehydrated. You can't keep fluids down. I would just think of food and I could throw up. I was sick all the time. So I ended up going out on medical leave. And around that period of time, my husband accepted a new position someplace. And we decided that I was just going to leave my position and just become a stay-at-home mom. And I think that having waited so long in my life and career to have children was great in that respect, because I felt like I walked away without any regrets. Like I felt like I hit a point, a career milestone that I was happy to have. I felt a little bit burnt out at that point in my career, and I just was able to walk away and not feel any regret or feel terrible about not being in my profession anymore. And that is great. And I think that's a really good plus of waiting a while to have my kids. As far as being older and having kids, I don't know. I mean, you're as old as you feel, right? So some days I'm like, I don't even know. Some days I'm like, I'm the adult in the room. How did that happen? I don't feel like I'm old enough to even have children. So so I guess in a way that's good. I think that I hit waiting this long, I've experienced a lot in my life where, I can kind of be pretty chill about having kids and maybe deal with things better than I would have maybe 20 years ago. My husband's great. He's like 6 months older, 6 months younger than I am. And I think he feels the same way. He wouldn't have done it any other way. And we are just normal parents. Like, yeah, we're just older than most of them, but what can I tell you? I don't feel old. I don't feel like it affects me at all. I feel like a lot of the times, I think people think I'm younger than I am, which is fine with me. So that's that. One thing I did enjoy in having left my job is that I was able to take the time and dedicate it back to myself. So about 3 or 4 years ago when I started my weight loss journey, I was able to do that because I wasn't working full time. And, that's kind of how I was really able to accomplish what I've accomplished with my weight loss, because I had the time and energy to put into it. And I definitely would not have that opportunity if I had not been with my husband. My husband is amazing. He's a great person. He's generous, kind, and he is my biggest support. What else? My favorite food in the world is pizza. I could eat pizza every single day. I don't care for the rest of my life. Cold, hot, doesn't matter. I will eat it. My least favorite food, I will not eat anything that comes out of the ocean, which kind of sucks because being on a weight loss journey, that was kind of be nice to have another protein, but no, I think it smells disgusting. I think the texture is gross. I'm a texture smell person. Cannot deal with it. And so nothing from the ocean. What else about me? There's really not. All right, what do I like to do? I like to knit. I like to knit and crochet in my spare time. I bake a lot. I love horror movies. I love the Golden Girls. My husband and I met because of a mutual interest and mutual love of horror, specifically Italian zombie films. I like gaming, but not a lot. But I do that. I love music, love reading. I love pretty much all kinds of music except for country. Just can't get into country music, sorry. But I grew up in a house with a 65,000 piece record collection. So you'd walk into the basement of the house I grew up in, and we had these floor to ceiling record shelves with shelving filled with records. My father was a music collector, a music fanatic, so I grew up listening to The Who, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, the Clash, like anything 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s, rock and roll. I grew up listening to, of course, being my age, I love 80s, 90s music. I love pop music. I really do. I love a good pop song. I could always appreciate a good pop song. I love rock and roll. My dad had all his records were organized by geographic location. So, and I'm not talking just like Europe's over there and Africa's over there. It's more like this is the Ireland section, this is the UK, England, British. Here's Germany over there, Russian, like literally down to like the actual country, region, Maybe that's why I'm a librarian. I don't know. But it was a fun time to grow up listening to that. My dad would play music for us all the time when we were growing up. We'd play MTV when MTV first came out, and he would take the records of artists that were being shown on it. We had a lot of, he taught me how to read by alphabetizing records. Some of my earliest music memories are us playing the Spoons to the Who's Zoo bootleg album. I mean, there's just so many good memories in my life are tied to music. Like, you could probably, I can hear a song and I can automatically just pinpoint it to exact time in my life, which is pretty funny, I think. My husband thinks I'm amazing because I have this like uncanny ability to remember song lyrics like nobody's business. I don't know where that comes from. I just do. Apparently my daughter's the same way. Maybe it's genetic. What else? Only wanted to, yes, I spent a lot of time when I was a lot of time in my life following a little bit of the dead and then fish. Yes, I was a fish head. I went on fish tour many times. My ex and I did. We traveled all over the country to see the same band play almost every night, but it was great. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of wonderful people. It was a time in my life that I look back on very fondly. I don't know if I would have the wherewithal to do that now, but I would definitely still enjoy going to see them live when I can. I love going to see live music. It's a lot of fun. So those are the kind of things that I like to do. And that's kind of me in a nutshell. It's weird to me that somebody would ask to know more about me because I'm like all over. I've been on social media for so long. I feel like there's all this stuff about me out there. So, but, always feel free to ask any questions you want to know. I'm pretty open and honest and don't hide anything. What you see is what you get with me. So I don't have a problem answering a question. The other part of this video, I was asked my opinion, and I was asked to give my opinion publicly of the drama that's going on YouTube and like the weight loss community and the weight loss reaction channels. I'm sure if you know, you know. And I don't want to get into it, and I don't want to react to people, and I don't want to react to reaction channels or anything like that. But I will say this. And I think it pretty much encompasses my feelings about it, and you can probably extrapolate from there. Growing up, I've been fat my entire life. I was teased mercilessly when I was in elementary school and junior high school. Even at home, my weight was always always a topic. Like, I felt like my world had to revolve around my weight, whether I was came from my mother, other people. I was on diets. I remember being like 7 and being on a diet. Like, that's how much weight was a huge deal with me. I felt like I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like my mom was embarrassed by me. It was a huge issue in my life. And it caused me a lot of pain, and it caused me a lot of, I was depressed and I was sad, and I caused probably a rift when I was growing up between my mom and I, who we now have a wonderful relationship, but I think that was a huge part of why we locked heads a lot when I was growing up. But because of all that experience, and and I know how crappy people are, because like I said, I was teased mercilessly to my face when I was young. And then when I got to high school, I'm sure it still went on behind my back. And then my senior year of high school, I lost a bunch of weight and became like the person that everybody wanted to be around. And I just learned really quickly how crappy people are, and superficial people are. So I'm gonna say this, and you can take it as you will. I will never come on here, or even off of here, and ever say anything nasty, mean, or extraordinarily critical of another person who's struggling with their weight. ever. I know better than that. And I also understand how incredibly hard it is to lose weight when you're addicted to food or have some kind of food issue or, whatever it is that's causing you to struggle. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that's easy to overcome. And some people don't. And I will never, ever say something harmful to somebody else about their appearance, specifically and most emphatically not about their weight. To me, it's lazy. It's lazy. It's like a lazy insult. Never in my life when I was being told I was fat did I ever not actually know that I was fat. So people telling me that, people teasing me about that, people criticizing me, people concern trolling me for that. You didn't really you didn't open my eyes up to something I didn't know. You just made me feel like that was all I was. So I don't support people who do that. I don't condone that. And I find that to be very harmful to people, regardless of how crappy somebody is as a person. To make fun of their appearance, especially when you know the struggle yourself, is to me just downright cruel and unnecessary. If you want to criticize somebody or make fun of somebody, especially if they're a crappy person, I'm sure there's so much more there that you could work with and take from to make your criticisms, that to pick the most obvious one, to me, is, like I said, is lazy, but it also indicates to me that you are being hurtful on purpose, because you know that weight is something that people are very sensitive about and can really strike somebody at the core of their being. At least that's how I felt when I was being tormented or whatever. And it took me almost 30 years. I'm sorry that my kids are yelling in the background. It took me almost 30 years before I could even get a handle on my weight. That's with all good intentions from people I've known throughout my entire life. But I had to just come to that decision. I had to make the first step. I had to get it under control. And it wasn't until I met my husband, who was probably the first person who supported me unconditionally and believed in me and told me that I could do it and wanted to help me do it in any way he could and supported me through the whole process, who thought I was beautiful when I weighed 420 pounds and now I weigh 196 pounds and he still thinks I'm beautiful. He doesn't care. And that's why that's why I'm successful, because I have somebody who believes in me, supporting me, and not everybody has that. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to start crying, but it's true. Not everybody has that in their life. So to choose to pick on somebody because of that is really, really heartless, I think. I think it's doubly heartless when you yourself suffer from the same problem and should know how it feels. And that's kind of my feelings on the whole thing. And y'all can feel free to check me anytime you want if you think I'm saying something cruel or mean or unkind to somebody because of their appearance or even in general. Because I want to be called out on that stuff, because I don't want to be that person. I've tried really hard not to be that person. I'm raising my children not to be that person. We're raising our children to be the person who steps in and supports that person. So they see someone getting bullied, they're told to step in and help out. We don't prey on people who are weaker than we are. And which to me, even saying that out loud is ridiculous, because how the hell do you know if somebody's weak or not? Just because they have one issue going on in their life does not mean anything. I've known people who have gone through hell and back and are some of the strongest people I know. And some people have gone hell and back and have never been able to handle anything beyond that. And it's not my call. It's not for me to judge them. So that's my feelings on this. And I hope that's publicly stated enough and that y'all can, understand when I say that I'm not going to ever come on here and hurt anybody because of their weight. In fact, by coming on here the way I do and talking about the stuff that I do, I'm hoping that I can help people more and motivate people. And I hope people can feel that they can come to me for support on any of my social media or in private if they need it. And that's where it is with that. And that's where I am with that. And I guess this is the perfect place to announce to everybody that I am going to be pursuing my ACE certification, becoming a certified personal trainer, so that I can talk about these things without people thinking I'm talking out my ass. Even though I don't think I'm usually talking out my ass, but sometimes you got to have the qualification, have the certification so people can take you seriously, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up because I'm talking way too long. I hope you enjoyed this video. I plan on filming tomorrow with my weigh-in and talking about pregnancy and morbid obesity. Fun stuff there. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your comments. I hope you're enjoying the channel, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.